Terry, have they started the meeting yet?
I have not heard anyone.
Okay, just making sure that I'm on the right spot.
Hey, Terry.
How are you?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm good. Long day. I asked him, can I Zoom? I didn't feel like going back out of the house again.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah. And we're getting snow here pretty good.
We had it all day today.
Did you?
We had a really contentious day with craft.
Again?
It's exhausting.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just said it's exhausting.
Yes, I can imagine. And all he's gonna do is
He's gonna-
complain.
Well,
Because-
he's going to give us financials that we haven't seen.
Oh, tonight, huh?
Yeah. So we haven't seen him. We haven't talked about him, nothing.
Jeez.
And
I will.
he'll try to force us, do what he does.
Yeah.
I almost wish the snow is our excuse tonight, but when you got 3 kids, they're just like little walking laboratories and everybody's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They must be running behind, huh?
Yeah,
Must be.
I think it's a transition between the water meeting and our meeting.
Oh, yeah, because theirs is before ours.
Mhm.
I usually go to those, but I just didn't have energy today. Well, I didn't get off work until it was after 6, so
Yeah, I started working on his stuff at 5:30 this morning.
oh my gosh. Why does he wait till the last minute for everything?
Because it works for him.
Yes.
Well, and then we're not prepared.
That's why it works for him.
Yep.
And he tries to persuade you without, having opportunity to think about it or vet it or anything. But he's been really successful at that. So
Ruth, did you get a chance to look at what he sent over?
We're recording now.
We're good.
So, we haven't seen his financials at all.
Ruth,
Yep.
we're recording now. We're in the meeting. We're in the meeting.
Okay.
Call this meeting to order. Call the roll.
Trevor Smith,
Here.
Mayor Colm,
Yep.
Andrew Lowry,
Here.
Josh Baker,
Here.
and Jonathan Schaefer will be running late. Terry Howard is present on Zoom.
Bailey Wineland is present on Zoom as well.
Bailey, it said Samsung. Sorry, Bailey's present on Zoom.
Samsung is here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
With liberty and justice for all.
Yay, approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve with changes.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Okay,
Kim, aren't we amending the agenda with 3 changes?
We need to say what those are.
oh, all right.
So we are gonna be amending the agenda, adding under new business. I've added an additional policy to adopt. It's the last document on your packet. It was not there previously. It's a policy for streets and roads inspection program. This is at the request of our insurance company. So I've added that there. New business item F will be a preliminary financial presentation on Kiowa Creek Meadows by craft companies. And we are under old business. There will be a continuance of the public hearing for the ordinance. And it was pointed out to me right before we started, I misquoted the policies that are in this packet. These will be policies regarding employment, not vehicles. So we are doing, I'm not sure how that happened, but yes, okay, we'll read those off of you.
And the employment policy numbers would be added.
Yeah, so we're gonna be looking at policy 22040 on employment recruitment and selection for the town. We're doing employment 22041 standards of conduct. We're doing employment 22042 employment. 22043 employment changes. 22045 the appeal procedure. 22046 peer review operating guidelines. 22047 separation of employment. 22048 pre-termination meeting. And then the one we added for streets and roads inspection program 22052. So that's the correction to the policies under new business.
We don't.
So now we need a motion and approval for the amended agenda.
So moved. So second, all those in favor?
We had the,
Aye.
Okay, so
Bert, did you gotta say something?
it's good.
Okay.
Okay, so I have no staff reports personally. Any board member like to address? Ruth, had anything to bring up in your staff report?
Thanks for everybody coming out on Valentine's Day, and to let all know that we received an objection from the developer for Kiowa Creek Meadows on our chargeback agreement, and hopefully we'll be able to resolve that without much further discussion. Other than that, nothing else to report. Kim, are you talking?
Terry, can you hear me?
Now I can. I couldn't for a moment. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Can everybody else hear Kim?
She sounds really far away.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Okay, fired away again.
Now I can hear you, Kim.
Okay. We are still in the process of the energy audit, with the state energy department. We have transferred our energy billing from last year over to them. They're still processing that, reviewing it, and then they'll get with me with the next process of the program. Let's see.
Kim, I can't hear you.
It's doing it again, Kim. I'm so sorry.
To be honest with you, it could be the Wi-Fi, it could be the connection here in the building. We are having problems with the network.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, if you guys need me, just,
Okay. So we were granted that grant from DOLA. It will help us do a new comprehensive plan and update our code. We're gonna be sending out an RFP to find a company that will do that process for us. Let's see. And that's all I have right now.
Okay. Anything from Public Works?
Just so everybody is clear, our backhoe is broke. It's dead. It's not coming back alive again. The transmission has gone out on it. There is a tag on it that says do not use. It's not to be moved anymore. So as of this time, we have a snowplow available to us, a street sweeper available to us, and a shop truck available to us. That is the extent of our capabilities as far as equipment for the town. And that's all that right now.
No. And as the weather looks tonight, they're gonna need that plow to get moving,
You
so,
will be in at 3.
yeah. Code enforcement was due a quarter report in March.
Correct.
We have nothing from her.
No.
Okay, our consent items. Approval of the minutes. Hopefully everyone had a chance to peruse through those. From January 23rd or January 2023 Board of Trustees monthly meeting. The February 6th, 2023 executive session and February 7th, 2023 work session. Motion to approve, and then we'll have a discussion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on any of those minutes that the board would like to make? Gary, you good with the minutes?
Yep.
No discussion. We have a motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Hi.
I,
Into the expenditures for the year 2023. Everyone's had an opportunity to peruse through the January 1 to February 9 statement of activity. Kimberly, anything earth shattering that we need to know about?
No, nothing earth shattering. I'll just speak to something that another board member asked me about at the beginning of the meeting so that it's clear. You guys are probably looking at a negative number next to the payroll wages for the clerk. That is because Iowa Water and Wastewater pays us. That is applied back to actually negative because of the negative.
Right.
To let the record show that Director Schicker is right.
Yep. See right here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This quicker than you. All right, lady. All right,
Motion to approve expenditure.
we have a motion to approve the expenditures.
Second.
We have a motion. And any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Okay, we have some public hearings,
Mhm.
motion to adjourn from this meeting.
So
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Hi.
Okay, a motion to go into public hearing. That's at 7:13. Motion to go into public hearing. Motion, do I have a second? Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Okay. You got her. 7:13.
Information in your packet for regarding a special events request for liquor license from the Public County
I think most of the information is there. Sorry, I should have. Oh. Pretty much do the same thing we've done in years past. License for 3 different days. One would be 36. Second is a combination. September 8th. I need to excuse myself from.
I understand that the outdoor activity with Bucking Horse Futurity will be they'll do the same process. Have people selling the beer that are certified with some kind of wristband,
Yes, sir.
so that everyone will be identified that can and can't.
We will have 3 different groups. Basically, one is going to be one group will specifically do IDs and wristbands. If you don't have a wristband, you can't buy a ticket or any alcohol, and you certainly can't be served from any of the bars.
Okay. And the Lincoln Day is all enclosed in the building, so
The Lincoln Day is all enclosed in the building. We'll handle that much the same way with hand stamps. It's a much smaller group and everybody pretty much knows everybody, and the kids will be obvious. There are some underage folks that are there, but they are known and well managed. Anybody that's gonna have any alcohol will have a hand stamp.
been a pretty successful event in the past, so.
Yes, been very successful. Thank you.
Any questions? Motion to approve.
I second.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies. Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you to the board.
Be careful going home.
Rick, would you sign those?
Right there, hold
I
on.
will.
So, Mr. Director.
If he wants to take me with.
You can sign, seal, and handle it.
Never argue with presidents.
It's almost as good as a check.
There you go.
Very good, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to leave the public hearing. At 7:17, second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Go back into the regular scheduled meeting. Motion, we have a second. Second. Discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Business. On these, or do you want me to just go through and read them all and go through that?
Yeah, usually you guys, if you guys have any questions on them, let me know, but usually you guys approve them in one fails through, of course, the streets and road inspection one was added to it today. And like I said, that was at the request of our insurance company. This is gonna be included in our loss audit. They're gonna be looking for this in April.
Okay. Okay, a motion to approve, and I'm gonna shoot through these real quick. Number 22040, recruitment and selection. 22041, standards of conduct. 22042, employment. 22043, employment changes. 22044, discipline. 22045, appeal procedure. 22046, peer reviewing operating guideline. 22047, separation. 22048, pre-termination meeting. 22049, personnel records. And number, Kim, the last one.
22052,
20.
streets and roads inspection program.
Hopefully everybody's had a chance to kind of peruse through those, read them. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. Any discussion on those policies? Red.
Yeah, the coverage of this team directly from their out.
Call for question. No more discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that would be approved. Have that. There we go. Yay, Mr. Crab, preliminary financial presentation. in Kiowa Creek Meadows. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you. We have the ability to begin.
This one's plugged in there. I don't have anywhere else to plug in. You mean for,
To share screen.
oh, no,
Okay.
sorry.
And you know if I pull
Can you email it? That's what I was wondering. Can you email it to Tasha's email address?
So if I do that, can I manipulate it on this computer?
Yeah, it was in there.
I think we can probably do it without actually. Thanks for the time again this evening. We did prepare a spreadsheet based upon the town's budget to start putting together a presentation for you to see the impact of the Kiowa Creek project. Really what we need help with at this point is to better understand some of the things that are much more on the town side than the development side. And we can go through that list. And to the extent you guys can give us input, that will help make a more accurate model that we can then present and walk through. So a couple of big round estimates to show you guys what we're working on. Assuming 450 new homes at an average new home price of $500,000 on the ad valorem tax alone, which is a sizable but not the only component. That's an additional $204,000. Before I can give you an accurate estimate though,
need to get some more information and guidance, like I said. So for example, on sales tax, town's current sales tax for the 2023 budget was estimated at $175,000. Does the town know how much of that comes from local sources? How much of that comes from outside the town boundary?
I can't give you any of that information right now. I could have researched that and given that to you tonight if I had known before the meeting that you were looking for that exact line item, because the county does split that out
Nice.
on their distribution sheets, so. Well,
The county splits that.
that's different. I'm sorry. The sales tax comes from the state and it's just coming in one lump sum. There's no split out given to us on that.
So the sales tax would be town specific for local businesses, right?
Or,
And it can be difficult to track in terms of just where that comes from because. But I guess, do some of the local businesses, is you guys as those businesses kind of know if, say, Patty's Ann's is 50% local or 75% local?
Oh, okay. Us.
Part
My
of,
mind-
part of sales tax for individual businesses is confidential and proprietary unless we can separate it into divisions, like we can lump sum retail sales tax and things like that. But unless a specific business wants to provide what they're paying in sales tax, that generally is prohibited, just FYI.
I'm not asking for anything confidential, just going off the budget. So of the 175, do you guys have a rough estimate if that's 50% from town residents and 50% from county and others, or 75 or anything else?
Kiowa doesn't break that down for me like that.
What do you think? I didn't hear.
I said I'd hate to venture a guess on that.
I don't even know how they,
Well,
I don't even know how they could track it.
It's kind of tough to track, and here's. I mean, because if you went down and I'm on, let's pick on Beano. I bet you. In terms of residents that go and eat at Beano's are outside the town limits, probably outweighs those that are inside.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, hell, we're all from Kiowa, whether we're here or 4 miles that way.
Yeah, we're talking.
So it's kind of hard, you're splitting hairs, you know. Where I thought you were going, and this is where I thought you were going, would be like if Debbie, for example, on one of her new builds, she orders lumber from Home Depot and Parker, they bring that lumber out. That's where I thought, because this is point of delivery, we get part of that sales tax.
Right.
And so that's where I thought you were going, but,
Let me get a hold of Kiowa.
Okay.
If we're in tomorrow, and I'll do some research and see if that's something that we would be given and can be clarified for us.
Yeah, cause like you order a pizza at Vino's, they don't ask for your zip code.
I think the only way you're gonna be able to break it down is to figure out what your increase in foot traffic is. Because it's gonna be a whole, it's not gonna be
Yeah, sure.
in town, out of town.
So here's what we plugged in for placeholders. We assume that roughly 50% of the sales tax was generated by people who lived within the town. Therefore, we could apply call it a per household amount, so that we can then apply that to the new homes going into Kiowa Creek. So our big rough estimate was, if it was half, then that comes out to about $486 per home. And then you would apply that to the new 450 homes, which would generate an additional $192,000. So if that's dropped down to, say, 40%, it actually doesn't move a whole lot. We're up to 60%. It swings a few $1,000s each way. But If you guys are generally okay with 50%, we can run that. If you guys have additional information somewhere, we're happy to adjust the model moving forward based upon that.
I would guess your town people using it are probably closer to 25%.
That's what I was going to say, we're probably
I
18
mean-
to 20.
Cause there's so many more people that live further out east.
Outside the city limits.
I'm way out east, and this is it, before you get too far out of town. And that number is huge.
Okay.
And then never mind the people in Forest Ridge and, the Woodlands and further on south. This is it. They take 45 and
So that helps enormously. Specific ownership tax, we took the basis, which comes out to about $41 per home, but a 10% escalator on that, assuming that new home buyers are going to be spending a hell of a lot more money in the early years. Other taxes we kept even, and you guys don't have to take notes. We'll send you this stuff after we've got better input, so you don't break your hands. Cigarette tax, I'll assume that's roughly the same as the sales tax at 25% then.
Yeah.
Okay. Severance and mineral tax conservation fund. Millie, I don't know a lot about how you calculated that, so I assumed it didn't. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it's not calculated by us, it's calculated by the state. So
So is that on a per person, per unit,
the
per parcel?
Conservation Trust Fund is calculated on the lotto sales.
So I guess how did they decide to give the town $10,000?
You have to research it for the state.
It's code stuff, those are a lot of dollars.
Yeah,
So it's
So-
based on sales.
based on.
I
lotto
think
sales.
The sales here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Based on Josh buying scratch tickets at conference week.
so keep the same sales tax estimate. Okay. Road and bridge, you know how all that gets calculated. Other intergovernmental agreement, we kept the same also. Franchise building permits and other fees, we have another schedule that we'll give you. So we calculated that outside, and I'll talk you through why we did that in just a moment. The grants, we assume stayed the same. Colorado statewide internet portal, the same. Revenue for Kiowa. Excuse me, the Kiowa Water and Wastewater Authority. We kept where it is for now. However, would love to hear a discussion on whether or not you think you're gonna need significant additional staff at
I
some point.
think you're gonna have to, because your
It's the
ORC
utility
is gonna
clerk.
be doing essentially at full build
Yeah.
out. Do you want, are you are you driving your numbers towards full build out?
So. Yes, the schedule we built assumes a 450 additional
Okay.
homes.
So my guess is he would go up at, I would think your ORC is gonna go up probably. Not quite double, but probably pretty darn close.
Yeah,
So we've got good estimates on the ORC from
Okay.
the deltas at Independence. So
Okay,
between, call it, we have roughly 250 homes occupied today. And then we already have numbers bid for the next phase of 600 something units. But in terms of more like staff, office, billing, et cetera, do you see big swings in your map?
More than likely, we'll eventually need probably a utility clerk in town.
That's not
Because-
doing that's a utility.
that's all.
well, but our expense, but, so we would have one utility clerk that then would do accounts receivable and payable. So then we wouldn't be paying a portion of the administrator, so I don't know that employee wise, we would have that much of an increase, because right now, while we pay
This is true.
all of Tasha's doing two people's
Yeah,
jobs.
she has.
So I'm sending the other half to Kim, so I really think one employee. I would say 5,000 to 6,000 a month would be plenty.
Okay. And I have a feeling a lot of these line items are gonna end up like that moving forward as we start getting into expenses.
I think our power is gonna be a huge, I mean, because our utilities are expensive.
So we assumed, I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Investment income, other revenue are left as budgeted. Board of Trustees, now we're moving to expenditures. So first, there are two things that I wanted to ask the town on the 2023 budget. The first one is there is a duplicate line item in street maintenance. Under street maintenance, there's a $3,000 line item for parks maintenance. And then under Parks and Rec, there's a $3,000 line item for parks maintenance. Is that just a
It's in the
duplicate?
2023 budget.
Yeah,
I'll have to look at that.
okay. And then also it looks like Parks and Rec at $39,000 wasn't actually added into the total expenditures. It's identified in the budget, but it didn't actually get counted. So should we pull out that $3,000 in Parks and Rec or from street maintenance?
And I can't give you any advice on what to do with any of these until I've had a chance to sit down and take a look at them.
So this is your budget.
I understand that's our budget, but you're alluding to a conflict in it, and I don't have the capability of pulling it up and researching it right now, so.
Okay,
Well, I'll have to have a chance to sit down and take a look at what you're alluding to.
okay.
Tim, which one didn't add into the calculation?
It looks like Parks and Rec. So now moving to expenses. $1,000 for the Board of Trustees. I wouldn't expect that to move much. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, well, we were pretty speed.
Yes.
So the big one would then be town admin salaries and benefits. We assumed one new staff member, but would love to hear y'all's thoughts on that.
At what point?
This would be full build out, so 400 additional homes, 450 additional homes. I'm sorry,
Figure 4.
4 new staff members. That would be exceptional,
To do what?
yeah.
Well, you think
Well,
about it,
We got
We got
one
parks and maintenance.
16-hour person that works.
Right,
down
no,
the
you gotta
entire
have you gotta have your streets and parks person,
town.
the full time.
Full time.
yeah,
So this is where I'm just think of how right now we're running on a we're running on,
Half of diligent.
yeah, we're running on air to serve residents of 700. And we're gonna do that full build out 450 just times 2. I mean, we're 1,600. You're more than double. We have 2.5 staff right now, plus a part-time plow guy. By the time you figure in the extra parks, the extra streets, the extra street signs will be run over every night. Just the extra, because this doesn't just double, Tim. This like squares or cubes or compounds. And so when I say figure 4, for all I know, I'm under. But it wouldn't surprise me if it takes 4 to handle the day-to-day, because really, right now, during the winter season and fighting some of the fights that we have, if we had 2 full-time public works guys, we could probably keep them here.
yeah, we could keep them busy.
I mean, and so when I throw that number out, I'm thinking I'm light, but this is a pretty efficient, sometimes not perfect, but pretty efficient little town that runs.
Okay,
So you're saying 4 additional or 4,
Addition,
Additional.
so you'd have a utility clerk that we've added for
Yep.
water. You'd have your town clerk and your administrator, so you've got 3 in-house. And then you're gonna add 4 more,
Let me do some evaluation on that.
cause that
Get
gives
back
you
to you.
7 employees
Maybe.
for a town of,
So that does sound extreme.
For a town that just got tripled.
Elizabeth doesn't even have that much staff.
Oh, shit, they
Yeah.
got 5,000 in their public works.
They have a public works
They do
department.
have a public works department,
They
but
have
they
a-
don't have 4 full-time employees.
They have a
doing
public
it.
works department, they have a planning department.
Yeah,
They have
and
a
we're not, and
police
that's,
station.
but we're not including bringing your planning in-house, right?
No, but,
Yeah.
right, but see, here's the thing. Tosh and I wear all those hats
Right, that's what I'm saying, but if you're gonna give Tasha's the utility clerk,
to a utility clerk.
yeah. So now Tasha could be your town clerk and your building permits and all of that,
But your
and you're back
code,
to it at.
just your code enforcement person isn't gonna be a one day
A week now.
No, we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
and this is gonna involve that.
So code enforcement, I would assume, would still be third-party contracted and someone who's probably driving through the community twice a month.
Yeah.
Snow operators, you're probably looking at plowing twice a month.
Which month?
Not this
Twice a
year.
month?
Are you talking about
You don't
June
come
or are
in
you
here
talking about?
You should spend the night here tonight and see.
It's been, the weather has changed so drastically. This
Last
is,
year.
Last year was twice.
yeah, this is the first year that we've really had any snow. So, I mean, with that, we'd have to play it by ear.
But my crystal.
Because
ball-
it takes him, how many hours do you think he puts in just plowing what we have?
Well, this year, right now, I mean, there was one week he put in 23 hours
Yeah,
at the end of December. And then January, he's put in probably close to that too. I mean, he comes in, he stays all night long.
It snowed
So-
16 days in January, sorry,
Yeah.
stepped on me, but it's those 16 days in January. And of those 16 days that it snowed, I think 12 of the 16, we had to have a plow. And then you figure in, I mean, and here's the thing, you got access traffic, now we're gonna have, there's additional intersections that are gonna be needed sanding throughout the day. I mean, this. Right now, we go, well, there's 2 intersections that really throughout we gotta pay close attention, one over by the school, so they don't shoot off into the one guy's house, but.
do you think 2 maintenance men? Cause if you think about it, right now, we don't have anyone to repair what we have. Every repair that we have, say on the plow, goes over to Elizabeth to the plow guy. So if we could get somebody and to get somebody, we're gonna have to pay him pretty decent wage, because they won't work for 24,000. But you know, someone to repair, someone to. That guy can do double duty, snow plowing and cutting the grass, you know, because around town. Every couple of weeks, we had to mow all the streets. So that takes a great deal of time, and there's sometimes we don't get to it because our 2-day-a-week maintenance guy is spending all his time cutting parks and cutting green belts and this and that. And so,
Are you guys gonna be maintaining the parks in Independence?
So.
Independence, no, I don't want to.
I'm sorry, I mean,
I know.
sorry,
I'm giving, yeah,
but no, that's because that would mean.
Yeah,
but
more
eventually
parks.
we will, right?
So-
We'll take that over like
They
in
have
2
an
years.
HOA, because they're in town.
The town's responsibility would be to maintain the roads. The
No.
overlay district's responsibility would be to maintain the parks within Kiowa Creek.
So you guys wouldn't do.
Let's think about it this way. We need to be a little flexible at what we're gonna need down the road in terms of personnel. I don't know if Trevor's out of the ballpark with 4, maybe we can get by with 3, but I know the utility clerk's a necessity. A maintenance man full-time is pretty much a necessity. The ORC has 2 people working for him or just 1?
I think he just has one guy working.
Yeah, Luke, yeah,
Yeah,
so, you know, we'll just have to,
but that goes out to contract. I mean,
Yeah,
that's,
that's
we may
contract.
not have the same guy. You never
that's
know.
true, that's true.
I mean,
So we're gonna have to be flexible and see what we need down the road.
So, and that's why I wanted you guys this conversation also is because you can spend this money however the hell you guys want, and I am not here to tell you how to do so. I can tell you that we have very, very, very recently budgeted for 1,000 home community right down the road. And so we know generally what the costs are. So for example, we spend $2,500 per mile of snow removal per annum. We know that we have one full-time person planned that the full build out, and then everyone else is on contract basis. And then all of that falls within the ad valorem mills that act just as the town does here for almost exactly the same mill levy there.
And that could work contract labor to help plow. We do have a couple of kids right now that love to have the town, but you know, they're $120 an hour
Those are
with their
kids.
equipment, so. Yeah, that's outrageous. We can't afford that, so that's why we're doing a part-time basis. So
Yours always been because there was a kid. I reckon.
I think to leave that open would be, you know. Cause it's gonna change considerably. So,
So I don't think it's gonna change as much. So let me say this, the infrastructure will all be new for the new community.
yeah,
So in theory, the roads, the pipe and all of that shouldn't really need to be touched for the next 30 years.
That's the key word, shouldn't,
Right.
you know? I mean, it's like, take the Elizabeth when they did that deal right there by Safeway. And CDOT came in, they made the adjustments, they plowed the road, blacktop it. CDOT came in and then tested the blacktop. Killed the whole thing. They had to rip it all the way back out, put it back in because it was only gonna last about 5 years. I don't know if we're gonna test your blacktop. That's what I don't want to get into.
So let me say it another way. So first, there's a whole bunch of testing that goes on for blacktop.
Mhm.
But beyond that, right now you have infrastructure that is at the end of its useful life.
yeah.
But your new, and this is what I thought about today. Your new infrastructure is hooking up to that old infrastructure. So what is that increased usage on the old infrastructure gonna do? We already have problems with the existing infrastructure.
So the bulk of the
Let's see.
traffic's gonna go down the county road, so no real impact to the town.
I'm gonna bet you on that one. Because-
I was talking more about water.
We can come back to
Yeah,
The
traffic.
sewer line.
Yeah.
So
Sewer line.
That's one of those biggies right now.
water and sewer scares the hell out of me.
It should.
Yeah.
Scares me every weekend when I go.
But the nice thing is if you have new ad valorem dollars paying taxes at the same rate as old ad valorem dollars on infrastructure that's brand new as opposed to infrastructure that's at the end of the life,
Yeah.
the town is in a better situation.
Open. There's a lot. If you sit at the end of my street right there on Shasta Court and watch the cars come out of Fawn Valley or Pine Meadows and Forest Ridge and from 110, they come into town, they make the left turn on Shasta Court and zoom down to the four-way stop in droves.
Yeah.
And or they'll take that, what's that street called? The next one down and they'll cut down through that neighborhood and,
Go right across my house.
yeah, go right in front of your house. So those are issues that we'll need to work on as we move forward.
Okay.
I appreciate your willingness to help us out on that.
Excellent. So in terms of, let's say at least office for now, a new person, does that sound right? And then those costs split between Kiowa and the town?
Not if we're just doing a utility clerk.
I was gonna say utility clerk would be all of us.
Mhm.
So, but right now you're paying a portion of it. So like one new person, and then that would be 33% authority and 66% the town.
If they hire a utility clerk, that utility
It
clerk
will
would be
be
100%
all
water.
us.
Okay. So would
So
you continue to pay?
No,
Okay, so.
no, yeah, so our five are, like, right now we pay 5 a month. So let's say that it goes up to 6 because Kim still has to do some admin on the water. And the other 5 is going for the other utility clerk, so go at 6,000 a month.
Okay. Okay. General office and admin, I took it by the same amount. Parks, leases and rentals, I left as is. Park maintenance, I left as is. And parts and repairs. So I guess for the street maintenance, how much of the 40,000 in that budget is snow versus repairs?
Depends on what year. And I'm not being a smart ass. Last year it was maybe 15%. This year it's gonna probably be closer to 70%. If it continues at the pattern from here till first of June.
So is that because maintenance is just being kicked down the road, on the road?
No, it's because it's snowing and you have snow versus maintenance. If it's,
So. I guess what I'm saying is. If you're budgeting 40,000 and you're using 30 for snow removal, does that mean you're deferring an additional 20 or 30K in road maintenance?
I guess it put it that way, yeah, it's in a vacuum.
Okay.
And then
So do you have an estimate on what it's been over the last, say, 5 years combined?
I'd have to go back and pull what it looked like.
Okay. So we did a quick study and I can show you guys the map and all that sort of stuff last time, but it looks like the town currently maintains about 4.25 miles of road. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I'm so less than that.
A little less?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think? 3.5?
Well, if we're just talking about 86, are you talking about 86? You're talking about the entire town?
So the entire town in maintenance specifically.
Oh,
So
it's more than,
And we don't maintain any of these.
no.
So
We get,
it would be all the
yeah,
town.
I misunderstood him,
Both
yeah.
side streets.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing on the,
Could be
Close.
close.
That's probably pretty
Town.
close.
okay,
Right,
the only thing we do on the state highway is the curb lines.
yes.
We're supposed to maintain those. So they say, it's up in the air who's supposed to do what.
so assuming 4.25 miles is accurate. And then I assumed half of your street budget was for snow. That comes out to $4,000 per mile. Which sounds a little bit heavy. Because like I said, our community down the street is paying $2,500 per mile. But if you have in-house staff, you may benefit in the snowy years.
Yeah.
You may get a deal. Excuse me, you may get a deal in the snowy years and you may pay a hell of a lot more in the drier years.
With this winter that we've had with the really cold temperatures, we've got just a ton of potholes. I mean, our roads are just looking like bad news. So it's gonna take a little bit more this year to repair the potholes if we can get them repaired to some extent.
Yeah.
Because I think that, and don't quote me on this, but I think that when they put the roads in on the south side of town, they didn't do a real whippy job of having them inspected and making sure they were put in correctly and compacting them correctly. And I'm not a road builder, but you know, it's just like all the way down those things. So we're gonna have to eventually do some pretty serious road repair in the neighborhoods. So
Well, I mean, just. Think about this, look at Kiowa Bennett.
Yeah.
Kiowa Bennett Road wasn't terrible until Elmer County Road and Bridge hauled in 260,000 tons of recycled asphalt in a month and a half over that road. I mean, they beat the ever crap out of it. And the thing that sucks is that if you're going to drill a frac well, or if you're gonna put a development on the other side, Elmer County is gonna charge the impact fee for what you're gonna do. They're already crummy roads. You know, that you have to put them back, but there's no impact of what they just did to that, because they hammered the dog out of it. And so that's the next thing, when you think about 450 houses, how many cement trucks, and you know the number, how many cement trucks does it take to pour the foundation?
Or not?
Probably eight, but, huh?
4.25.
Four, let's say 5, but you take 5 great big heavy cement trucks times 450 houses coming down the streets, that's gonna be, you know, that's
a huge impact.
additional.
But that's going on either CDOT or county road, is it not?
I'm talking about 45 or the 86.
45 and 86.
45 from the firehouse to basically your property line is
our responsibility. If they come down Kiowa Bennett Road and they start at the fairgrounds to there, it's,
Is that not county road?
no, that is our responsibility. It's within the town of Kiowa.
Interesting.
So once when it gets inside the city limits, except for the middle 2 lanes of 86 is basically the responsibility of this group.
Good to know. Going back to street maintenance, $4,000 a mile still sound good to you guys?
Sounds like it.
Okay. Planning, engineering and the like, I left all as is. I figure all that effectively pays its own way to the extent somebody's making an application. Albert County Sheriff, I left as is because I'm still assuming the town's goal here is to restart a police department. Is that right?
Well, the last estimate I got on restarting a police department is gonna be somewhere around 1,600,000 to 1,800,000 with all the requirements, equipment, blah, blah, blah. So I think that we're going to have to keep using the sheriff's office until we can get a little money in the bank book.
I mean, ultimately, yes, that is our end goal.
Yeah, it's eventually, yeah, we want to have a police department, but
That was the question.
that's a big number. Right.
So the 1,500,000 estimate, that's initial startup cost?
Yeah.
And then ongoing, did they give you a per annum number on top of that?
Pardon me, so that is
Did they give you an annual budget on top of that?
Look, when the police department was
in.
terminated,
Yeah.
their annual budget was, I gotta think it was 240,000.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
That's what it was. That was pre-COVID. Pre the world, pre the multiplier. I mean, that's what it was.
And we only had one officer, right?
That was the two. two. Sammy, the chief police.
That was
Sam and, yeah. And that was 2 full-time and 2 part-time. And here's where a lot of that stuff has changed in terms of the multipliers. Obviously the pay grade changed, but the cop cars that we were able to acquire for 10,000 are now 40,000, even if we get a hand-me-down gift. All the battery, body cams are, but now here's the new kicker, and this is what Albert County's running up against, is what they're required to store them and for how long they're required to store that footage. So on our budget, we honestly would need to figure somewhere in the neighborhood of, this is Wash quote, and I don't know if it's changed, but since they told, figured neighborhood of $8,500 a month just for body cams footage storage.
Okay.
That's crazy.
So that's where
So,
it gets stupid real quick.
so we met with your chief of police a while back, and I understand all this is dated. He said that he's, what's that?
Sammy?
Yeah,
Sounds right. It's been about 6 years,
Yeah,
that would have been Sam.
5 years.
okay.
He said that at the time his budget was 150. He had 420 calls a year. 50% was in town, 50% was remote, or he replied to it as discount. So was there additional cost sharing with any entity outside of the town of Kiowa?
John has his hand up behind you.
Sure.
Last week, Simla School District, IGA with the Simla Police Department for a school resource officer for 1 year, $67,000. They committed $35,000 per year, $17,000 per semester. They're hiring a reserve officer there. Colorado Department of Education and the governor, because crime has increased by 100% in the state in past 18 months, whatever, wants a school resource officer in every school.
It's true.
Thank you. Which matches up pretty much with what your chief said, 65 per year That's obviously unescalated. 2,500 per year CapEx association. And then he said 470,000 for his wish list of equipment, cars, vehicles, and the like.
How much?
Almost 500K.
You said that, wait a minute, you said the one police officer with a salary of 67,000 is escalated?
All of those numbers are unescalated. That's all from a spreadsheet that we had
Okay.
last dated the end of 18.
John, just a minute, Tim. John,
One more thing I left out, the Simla officers, contracted for 1,000 hours per year, found 1,000 hours per year school.
that's gonna be a necessity going down the pike, I'm thinking. A resource guy,
It's not a state mandate yet.
it's probably gonna head there though.
I assumed a 10% increase in the parks and rec expenses. Mainly because the community is providing its own park and rec. I figure somebody's gonna walk down the street to the other one from time to time.
Who's gonna handle the water in the parks?
So Kiowa Creek would be self-maintained. Okay. Next up are the impact fees.
So we had a discussion today with Corey. Talked to him since then. So you do realize our impact fees are 20 years old.
Okay,
We'd like to suggest we bring them up to 2023 amounts.
that is an absolute non-starter for me. We have talked about impact fees with 4 prior managers. That is the absolute definition of a retrade.
Okay. You copy that, Ruth?
I heard.
Okay. Go ahead, move on.
So I'm showing the fees that we all agreed to at 6,512 per home, including the building permit. Those are estimates and that can vary based upon the size of the home because of the way your impact fee, or excuse me, your building permit is calculated. So comes out to about $3 million.
Okay.
We are assuming about 50-ish homes a year for build out. So let's say 7 or 8 years for that build out schedule, somewhere in the neighborhood of $360,000 to $400,000 per year in additional revenue to the town outside of the AV. In the other taxes, I should say.
Say that again?
A little less than $400,000. So as comparison, your 2023 budgeted revenue, your total revenue is $515,000. So assuming 7 to 8 year build out, the impact fees and the building permit effectively, it's a little bit shy of doubling your revenue while the community is ramping up.
Out of that 6512, do you know how much goes to safe built? I mean, does the town actually get the 6512 or does it spend a portion of that to go to safe built?
I do not know.
So I think we need to figure out where safe built fits into that, since it's all outside of the town.
I've already.
Or- or- I can't hear again.
56 per year.
What are you about to say, Rick?
You guys were
We're
doing just
having
fine. We
problem.
could hear you, but now we can't.
Yeah. Sorry about that, but it was doing really well there for a little bit. We can just wait a minute. It seems to come in and out. Is anyone talking? Oh. Somebody talk, can somebody try talking?
Can you hear me?
How about now? Can you hear us now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes,
I'm watching it bounce back and forth.
yeah, likewise.
There's a delay. So it must have caught something over there before. Sorry. So
No, I think you're good now. I can hear everybody now.
So I was curious, I was thinking about this the other day, are you gonna, upgrade or widen 45? In that section between 86 and the new development,
So
to accommodate the excess in
cars.
traffic?
we haven't run a traffic impact study, so I can't really say.
I was just curious, I thought of that the other day. Man, there's gonna be a lot of people on 45.
it's gonna need to be live.
Let's keep moving along.
So I need to complete the math on a lot of this, but assuming for, like I said, that 7-8 year period of build out. An estimated fee and tax increase of over $500,000 per year.
What is it after they're all built and the impact fees aren't incorporated in that?
So. It looks like about a net revenue of $700 or $800 per home. So a little over 300 grand, 315 grand, give or take. Per year.
I thought you said it was 400 per year, in extra revenue.
So,
That was during construction.
well,
That's, yeah, those impact fees and permits.
yeah, so. What I did for, well. And we can get into this more the next time, because I think I've got enough that I can run competent budget here. But assuming, call it 50 to 70 permits per year, plus, let's say 25 to 50% of the ad valorem, and we can build a cash flow into this too. But on average, you're looking at 520, give or take, additional revenue dollars. And then at stabilization, that drops down more to like 300 grand, give or take. So say, for example, if you have a new $300,000 per year, and you chose to issue bonds against that, you could pay for your police department in road repaving throughout the community several times over. And none of this, of course, includes the additional millions of dollars that are going to the water or wastewater authority. And I'll
Yeah.
plug that in for the next time as well.
You're gonna
So-
send it.
Yeah, Tim, can you provide that spreadsheet to the town so that we can work with that, or what is
So
your thinking about that?
I'm happy to walk you guys through it at our next presentation,
But you're not willing to
and
give it to
then
us.
I'll give it to you thereafter.
But you're not giving it to us to review prior to the meeting, so you walk us through this.
So that we can have questions for you.
I'm happy to answer questions and happy to come back to do so.
Okay.
Again, I'm doing this outside of your codified subdivision requirements at substantial expense to us as well.
Okay. Any other questions? No, Ruth, any other questions?
Nope.
Is that it?
Now, let's talk about the chargeback while we're here. Please.
I don't know. Two things. One, I wasn't expecting to discuss the chargeback. I don't even have it before me and really don't think it's appropriate unless the board wants to entertain it. That's certainly up to them.
That's the pleasure of the group.
Actually, that wasn't on the agenda, so I don't know what, you know.
But it was brought up at the beginning of the meeting.
It was brought up in her report,
Yeah, so I mean.
but it wasn't listed on here, the agenda item was discussed tonight, but
I
it
would agree.
So. Okay,
I would be happy to put it on the next month's agenda if we're unable to reach a resolution. I'd certainly bring it forward before the town board to weigh in on that.
I think if you would just allow us to raise the issue for your consideration, and then we could discuss it at the next.
I'm so sorry, I can't hear you clearly. I can I can try turning this up, but
I can't hear either, and I've got mine all the way up.
As with me, I can't hear.
they can't hear you, there's no sense in having this discussion tonight, we will continue it to next month.
What did, I didn't hear you, so.
Oh, I don't know where the microphones are, but, you know, just, it's been an ongoing issue that, Corey and, Ruth have been emailing about. And it's something we would like to at least bring to your attention, not necessarily need a decision tonight, but just something, for your consideration for maybe the next meeting. But we would like to at least address what the issues are.
So
two things. One is we'd have to have that under public discussion or open it up and you know, there's no discussion about having this on the agenda this evening.
Well, it is a part of the ongoing discussions on this topic.
I mean, that's fine. I appreciate that. So,
And it came up in the committee report, so just wanted to close.
So do you want to table that and put that on the agenda next month?
yep, no problem.
The issue is that this is an ongoing issue where the charges. We have a different perspective on some of the charges.
We understand that. And like they said, we'll talk about it next month.
We indulge the board at your request to have us come in and spend time on the financials. This chargeback agreement has been an ongoing issue for about a year now. We're at a point where, in my opinion, it is past the point of being unethical and entering or at least a break from the civil docs, maybe even worse. We have been unable to resolve that. We would like to bring it to your attention for consideration, even if it is thereafter tabled. Based upon the, call it substantial amount of time we invested at your request to work on your budget, please indulge us this.
So I think the board is willing to indulge us at the next meeting. And I think they've made that clear. And everybody spent an extensive amount of time in this room.
No, I would just ask that the board review the chargeback agreement and look at the intent, and the intent was that the charges be for the review of the land use application, which was withdrawn by the Craft, by Tim Craft.
We will
That's-
certainly provide a copy of the agreement and outline the issues, and you will have an opportunity to review that as well.
And just also, so you know, he has in good faith been paying the bills. Despite the fact that they aren't covered under that agreement.
We'll address that the next meeting too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, old business. Continuance of our public hearing. I would entertain a motion to table ordinance 1 series 2023 till our next meeting. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
All those
If-
any discussion?
Ruth?
Yeah, it's a public hearing, so even if you want to continue this ordinance, if somebody has something to say or took the time to attend tonight based upon the agenda, I urge you to do that.
Okay. Any discussion? You want to bring anything to the board's attention?
I have a public comment tonight.
Well, stand up at the podium and tell us who you are and make your comment, please.
Well, I'm Danielle Olam. My public comment's actually to Mr. Kraft. Whether County Road 45 is governed by or maintained by the county, the town, or whatnot, it is still a factor of the citizens, and the citizens are the ones who have to drive on that road. So regardless of who, I mean, I know the county doesn't. The citizens are the ones that are gonna pay if that road is overused by cement trucks and everything like that. So I would implore you to remember that it is all of the citizens. So whether I support your project going in or not, who the dollar falls on is the citizens. And I would implore you to remember that, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Danielle. Any other, just, anybody else want to address that?
Am I allowed to speak on the ordinance?
You have something on that continuance of that ordinance?
I do.
Okay, fire
I
away.
figure I'd go.
Give you your 3 minutes of fame.
Kristen Decker, speaking for Tim Kraft. I guess what I would say about the ordinance after reviewing it and understanding a little bit of the background is that it's, I guess I don't understand legally how the town can take the position that you can unilaterally void an agreement that was signed by both parties. Notice was given. It was signed. Everybody discussed it. It was clear on the record. And regardless, I know there's an issue about whether or not Tim Kraft has vested rights. Regardless of that, there is an agreement. And whether or not he has vested rights, maybe that's another topic. I still think he does have vested rights, but that is not the issue. The issue is that it was a validly signed agreement.
Okay. Appreciate you.
Sure. Thank you.
Any other? All right, we have a motion on a second to continue that ordinance. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Anyone have any public comment they'd like to make? We'll give you 3 minutes. Sorry. Do we have any discussion?
The next meeting, the meetings are always the second Tuesday of every month. We got meeting.
Motion to adjourn? No. Still got it. Oh, excuse me. Go ahead, Libby. I'm sorry, I forgot you were coming.
John Hill Regional News, is the board aware of the filing?
I can't hear.
No.
Me neither. I can't hear that.
John Hill with the Ranchland News, talking about a filing for a variance by an applicant in the town of. Can you hear me?
Yes, thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead, John.
I cover the groundwater management districts. I do not cover Lost Creek. I do not cover Kiowa Bijou. I do cover Black Squirrel Creek. I do cover Upper Big Sandy. There's a filing before the town of Bennett by an applicant to drill wells into the well field in the town of Bennett, bring the water to the surface, export the water, and use the water elsewhere. Lost Creek has filed an objection to the applicant's application. I don't know what the status of Kiowa Bijou is. Last week, Upper Big Sandy voted unanimously to join Lost Creek to oppose the proposed variance, and the board of Upper Black Squirrel voted unanimously to join Lost Creek in opposing the variance. The comment made by the attorney for Black Squirrel Creek Groundwater Management District is, if this is approved, it's precedent setting in Colorado. The applicant could go into any town in Colorado, drill wells, plural, into the well field of the town, bring the water to the surface, and export it for use elsewhere. Now you know.
That's interesting. Thank you, John. Wow. Anything else by the board?
That's in the town of Bennett.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Who did the first, second?
Yes,
First.
Who? Did we raise hands or did we speak?
Motion to adjourn. Who's made that? Okay,
Josh.
Josh did.
Okay,
Second.
the second.
I hear a second, that's why I'm just like, I don't know.
Aye.
Bye.
All right. Thank you for coming.